Happy Friday, Facebook, and happy holidays. We have our Library Love Fest team here to talk about some books with special guest star Bethany. They're going to talk a little bit about some books you can buy for the holiday season, as well as some upcoming stuff. So take it away.
Hey everyone. So as Mr. Michael mentioned, we are the Library Love Fest team with our honorary member, Bethany.
Me.
I'm Chris Connolly with the Library Marketing team, aka Library Love Fest.
Same team, but I'm Lainey Mays.
Same team, different person,
Different person.
but one heart.
Oh,
One heart.
that was really cute. Do you guys have best friend necesslices?
Not yet.
Oh, you're
That'd be
gonna
a
get
great.
'em.
It's a great gift hint. Just saying.
Virginia, get on this. Except you have to figure out
We'll
how to
have
get
a
her
third
too.
one, and they all match up into a heart.
Ooh,
Aren't
love
there?
it.
Okay, no, I need to think about that for a second. I'm trying to because I was like, aren't there like 3 ventricles or something, so you could each have one?
That'd
But
be
that
an
won't
intense
work.
heart necklace.
If any of you at home have great ideas
If
for
any
really
doctors-
definitive ways to symbolize our love and friendship, please comment. Let us know. We'll send you some books. That's another thing we should mention. If you do have questions about anything we talk about, or you comment, you're automatically entered for a chance to
Or you
win
just
a
wanna
collection of books.
Or you just want to tell us how good our headwear looks?
Yeah.
That's fine too. We're open to
Thank you,
compliments
Bethany,
only.
for bringing all of these great headbands
Yeah.
and
Hey, no
headwear.
problem.
Yes.
What did yours say?
Bah humbug.
That is not mine.
No? You wouldn't
No.
own something so...
I didn't bring that. I have one over there that says Tree Rex because it has a Christmas tree and a dinosaur
That's
on it.
pretty cute too.
Great.
The punch is strong. Should we, I guess, talk about books? We're going to be talking about books that are on sale, gifty books, fun books, art books. We'll also talk about some things that are coming in the months ahead to just get you excited.
Things
A
for
little
your
tease.
TBR pile.
Or
Yes.
we have some gifty books because the holidays are coming up. We'll give you
Mm-hmm.
a few ideas so you can get shopping.
And if you need to go to hc.com/bookfinder to find some of them. I told you I was going to plug it.
Good plug.
That'll
That
come again
is-
later.
Some good effects too. Just
I zoomed in, the manual zoom. Okay, who's first? What are we talking about?
Maybe I'll tease you with an upcoming book because I'm super psyched on it, and she's our BFF now. So let's see if I have a copy of the book. I think I do, maybe.
Is it in that stack?
Let me check the stack. Yes, perfect. Okay. Searching for Sylvie Lee by Jean Kwok. So Jean Kwok wrote Girl in Translation. She's a New York Times bestselling author. She also came into The Office and is the most energetic, amazing, kind person that I've ever met. And she's a huge library supporter. She has a great podcast that we recorded. Lainey, who's our podcast guru, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
yeah, so we do Editors Unedited. Some of you are familiar with it, but authors talk with their editors and just kind of give you a behind-the-scenes look. And so when she came in, I was like, this has to happen. Jean lives in Amsterdam, so I was like, she's here. Let's get an episode. And it was one of the most genuine and beautiful interviews that really just happened pretty quickly. And I don't know, her and her editor really had a great conversation. So go to our SoundCloud page, Library Love Fest Podcast, and you can listen to it.
Excellent.
Sold.
Yes. And the interview, she talks about something that kind of inspires her work as well, and that she came to this country as a young child, as an immigrant. And these books kind of touch upon being like a Chinese American immigrant and what that means. But her latest, Searching for Sylvie Lee, which is coming in June, sorry, a bit of a wait, it'll be worth it. It's a thriller, it's literary, it's beautifully written, but so I like this comp, kind of like early Amy Tan meets Celeste Ng. And it is about Sylvie. Sylvie's this one of 2 daughters with this Chinese American immigrant husband and wife, and she's brilliant. She's kind of like the golden child. She has all the gifts. She's smart, beautiful, and successful and driven. And you see her now as an adult, and she's working. She's a like high level like executive. She's incredibly successful, but she disappears. She goes to the Netherlands where she was raised and disappears, and then you follow her younger sister, who's this very shy, kind of scared young woman who's trying to find herself, and she's trying to find out what happened to Sylvie. But really, this is about like identity. It's about how you form yourself. Sylvie, in this case, was sent to the Netherlands to be raised as a young child because her parents couldn't afford to raise her herself. Her younger sister was raised in America, and you see these two and just how they identify themselves and how they're searching for identity when kind of caught between cultures and countries. Again, beautifully written, but it does have a great thriller element to it. It's just wonderful. I don't know what else to say.
Isn't it like a tiny bit based on some of Jean's true life story?
Oh.
Like she had a sibling who disappeared.
She also talks
Yes.
about that in the podcast, and if you go to our blog, which is librarylovefest.com, then like there's a picture of her and her brother that's really sweet. If you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a part of it. I don't want to kind of like spoil it, but it does pull from Jean's own life. And one thing I should say, just this is told from both the younger sister's viewpoint and then also Sylvie's mother, who is, she was born in China. She's been living in Queens in this case, and her and her husband, they're still very like traditional, Chinese culture. They subscribe to that. And you get her voice, and each voice, both the mother and the younger sister, they're very unique and just beautifully written. It just really fully fleshed out. Like, it's character driven, but it does have like this propulsive plot when you're trying to figure out what happened to Sylvie Lee. Why did she return to the Netherlands? What occurred when she was raised there? That kind of, she's holding something back. She's hiding something about, what took place as a child and why she's so traumatized by that. It's so good, and again, the real life story behind it is so affecting.
There's so many good reviews and quotes that are already in, and she just announced it like yesterday on social media and showed the cover, and there's so much love for it already. It's kind of insane how much love for it.
I think the cover is so cool. They did a great job on that.
So she talked about the cover too, and it's actually an Asian person in Amsterdam, like on this beach, and it's specific. She said that she didn't even know like that was possible, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and the way it deals with race, especially being like an outsider, not only in America and Queens, which is a crazy thing to come to when you don't speak the language, you're trying to acquaint yourself with the culture, but also in the Netherlands, which is a predominantly white country, and then like how do you form your sense of self when you feel like an other and you're treated like an other by and large. There's a lot to chew on with this. This will be a great book club pick. And when you're you're laying on the beach and it's warm and it's June and there's no snow on the ground, this will be a great partner for you. So I highly
there is
recommend
snow
it.
on the ground because climate change.
Oh my God! Don't say that.
Womp womp.
So
Nervous
first
laughter.
book.
Nervous.
All right, I have a
sounds very
nonfiction. Do we want to go to a nonfiction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because it's not a downer.
It's not. Well, we'll get into it. So I want to talk about
complicated.
No Happy Endings by Nora McInerney, and this is her previous book. It's Okay to Laugh, Crying is Cool Too. So you can get this right now. It's available. And so Nora is one of the she's the host of one of my favorite podcasts called Terrible. Thanks for Asking, and it's just a podcast about. When you ask someone, how are you, it can be kind of a loaded question, and if they're going through something really terrible, then, you're just, like, obligated to say, oh, I'm fine, but that she really goes into it and asks tough questions about people who have had family members that have passed away, or it's really intense, and I cry almost every episode, but it's not because it's sad, it is sad, but it's because it's uplifting at the same time, where she's giving a voice to this pain, and they're working through it, and then creating a little audio world of remembrance, and it's really sweet. You should check it out. One of my favorite podcasts by APM, who has a great podcast.
You guys are on an initials basis.
We are American Public Media. I love them.
Wait, I thought Nora. Because she has a
Sorry.
P and an M in her name, and I thought that's what it was.
Yeah,
But Nora is her
and-
first name.
Yeah,
And-
me
and
NIP. But so our second book, No Happy Endings, is coming out in thank you, in
Oh,
March.
no, I'm not helping.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
In March. And so the first book, she went through a lot in life. And so her husband was diagnosed with brain cancer, and he passed away, and then her dad did from cancer really shortly after, and she also had a miscarriage. Like, all of these things were happening to her, and she kind of took all of that and created this memoir that's about, like, getting through all of that and understanding, you're not going to understand why. Like, there's no explanation, but you're going to be able to, like, it's okay to laugh, like the title says. Like, it's okay to remember people and have funny memories and move on. And she has a son, so she wanted to make this for them as well. And it's really funny. She's also the creator of the Hot Young Widows Club. It's like this Facebook group where they all get on and talk about what's happening to them. And she just kind of brings some laughter to a hard subject. So in the new one, No Happy Endings, she's remarried, has more kids. And this is about, you know, what do you do with that grief after you've processed it, after you remember these people, and kind of like, I don't know, like, how do you move forward? And I think the end result is there might not be a catch-all happy ending, but there can be a happy life in there, too, and you can enjoy it. So
I really like that the back of this book says, this is for people who have laughed at a funeral or cried in a grocery store, because that's definitely me. Both.
Yeah, I mean,
both of those are me.
Yeah, and you can check out Nora's TED Talk. It was in 2017. You can just do a quick Google search of that. She's very funny. And sometimes you kind of laugh. Like, I just finished this one, and you kind of laugh, and you're like, I don't know if I should be laughing, but I think that's the point. Like, that's how you get over things, and her husband wouldn't want her to be sad all the time. And yeah, anyway, it's really great. This one you can get now, and this one comes out in March.
I have a friend who works in an intensive care unit for babies, and they listen to that podcast sometimes.
It's so heartfelt. I could go on for 10 years, so just, like, email me. We'll talk about it.
You've got a book club friend in Lainey.
Got a book club friend in me.
I'm so happy you did that.
Just gonna
here
jump
it
in
is.
here real quick.
Oh,
Going
please
back to
do.
Sylvie Lee for a second. None other than Jean Kwok.
Hi,
commented
Jean. Hey, girl,
saying,
hey.
thank you. You guys are amazing, and you describe my novel better than I ever could.
Not true.
Not true.
Sylvie, Jean went to Columbia, and I'm trying to think where else her like educational background and professional background's crazy. Like, I could brag just about knowing her, even if she wasn't a writer. Then she is an amazing author as well. So it's she's like a double whammy, triple whammy, because she's also really nice. I would probably be a jerk if I was that successful. I would.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
No, I think you'd be. I think you don't have it in you to be a jerk. I've
you.
invited you to say mean things before, and you've said, no, I'm not going to do that.
You know what, Bethany?
See? You can't even do that.
Thwarted.
I'm gonna have to take the other half of our heart necklace back if you're mean.
Oh, God,
sick
that's true.
burn. Hey, Michael, has anyone complimented us? Do you want to share any of those?
We did get a comment. Love your festive headbands.
Thank you.
No, stop.
I was roasting like a toasted cheeser in my Christmas hat, or I'd keep it on.
Oh,
so
yeah, I
I'm
didn't.
sorry.
Do you want me to get you a headband? Do you want to wear my sparkly headband?
Do you want the reindeer ears?
I don't know if I want you to walk in front of frame, but
We'll just
I'm
walk
looking
in
to
front of
Scooter,
frame
I
like
don't-
this.
Here, I'll grab
Lainey will
it.
do it. I'll start talking about the ones that I want to talk about.
yeah,
for you
that's the one
guys.
for me.
And I've got a good mix of ones that are already out
Thanks.
and then not coming out until January or February. So Lee Child is just all over the book news lately because he's been bagging on. Oh, what's that actor's name?
Which-
He's small and
He's small.
he's short and Tom Cruise.
Okay.
He's been bagging on how Tom Cruise is too short to play his lead character in the
Oh,
movie,
my.
and so they're
Ouch.
recasting it. Anyway,
Is
it's
there
the whole
beef
thing.
now? Is there,
I think they're beefing.
There has to be beef.
So I was like, oh, I want to read a new political thriller because I'm thinking about Lee Child all the stinking time. So I brought 3-ish books that I think are great for people that love to read Lincoln Child. One is 1 and 2 in a series. So you have The Good Lie, which is number 2, and Shining City, which is number 1 by Tom Rosensteel. And these are really interesting. The first one reminded me of Scandal, just with a dude is in the main role, because he's a fixer. So in this one, a Supreme Court justice has died, and they're going to replace him. And so then Peter Renna has to vet the new person. And there's also somebody out there that's killing people, and the new Supreme Court justice that's on the list is next on the list of people to be killed.
Oh my gosh.
And then this one is about a bomb that happens in Africa, or an attack on an embassy that happens in Africa. What could that be? And so they have to try to figure out what's going on. This one was bananas and had a twist in it that I did not see coming, which I always appreciate. Michael Connelly loves both of these. They're so good. And I feel like there was supposed to be a movie made of one of these soon. Maybe they're trying for that. Maybe I'm thinking of something else now. But they're so cinematic and so much fun to read. So definitely you can get this one right now. This one you have to wait till February. So super sorry about that.
Not long.
And then I was just told that they've got a third one in already. So there's going to be a third book in this series. So those are the Tom Rosensteel books.
Nice.
The other one... Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Is Matthew Quirk, the Night Agent. This one, I don't know why I started reading this one, but literally the first chapter, and I was in it, and I didn't stop reading until I was done with the book. I just, read it, and I finished the whole thing right away. And it's about a Russian mole in the White House.
Sounds familiar.
Do you want to do your nervous laughter again?
Wait, what's my nervous laugh?
I don't want you to... Also really good. Lee Child has a blurb on this one. Again, twists in this one that I didn't see coming. You don't know who to trust. It is a wild ride. And I think is this Matthew Quirk's first book? Second book? No, he's got a couple?
Yeah, he's got a few. This is his first with us, though.
Oh, that's why it's new to me. He's new to me. I love this book so much, though. And I think it's out right away in January.
Yeah, January.
It is.
One of the first on sales?
Yeah.
So you can get it.
First Tuesday.
You can get it with all your gift cards, or you can get it for free at the library. Also
Nice.
in ebook and digital audio.
The Plug Master.
Yep, Plug Master.
If you're looking for Shining City right now, according to Jane, the Kindle version is now $1.99.
Hot dog.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay, do we want
And
to
I'll
talk
say the Kindle version is $1.99, but the versions from all the other retailers are $1.99 as well. Just saying.
do we want to talk about some fun gifty books for a
Yes, we
minute?
do.
Okay.
Are you grabbing one?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
need one? Do you have one?
I do.
Everybody got it? Look, we could do a gift swap with gift books.
Can we?
Yeah, sure.
But I want to do this one instead.
Okay. I can do.
Wait,
All
how
right.
is this working? Like you're gonna give me one?
Yeah, here. This is what I would pick for Bethany. we
Good
drew
job.
names before this.
No, we didn't.
So, it's an illusion. So, 41 Reasons I'm Staying In is the cutest book. I'm so excited about it. So, this is by Hallie Hell. This is just like little reasons. It's illustrated reasons why you could stay in, but it's really cute and funny. I'm going to share one of my favorites. So it's a door, and it has the sticky note on every page. There's a sticky note with the door number, and there each reason is the number. So this one says 18, drafting my will, but then the art is this person who's looked up WebMD. It says weak ankles equal probably cancer, and I just thought it was really funny. But this one's kind of dark, so I'm going to show you a really, really colorful and pretty one too. There's so many cute ones in this, and the reasons are all really funny and sweet. And I mean, it's for all the introverts. We all just want to stay in sometimes. And this is a perfect book to look through. And I mean, it's so detailed, you can probably find 10 things that you didn't see the first time you looked at it.
Yeah,
but-
what was I saying that reminded me of? Those search and find books where you're supposed to find you have 10 things that you have to find in the picture.
What are they called?
I think they're called search and find books.
Well, that's like the genre, but there's like the one
Or like
series
where you
that
see what's
know.
different, that kind of stuff.
If
Don't
any
worry,
of you
I'm
know the
Googling it.
title you're watching, if you're watching and you know what those
You're in
Please
the
search and
mood.
find books
correct
are,
us in live.
I love
time.
those. I love those, and sometimes they're miniature sets too, with and it's
It's really, but the second line is a celebration of introverts. So everyone's going to be able to, all the book people are really going to be able to relate to this one. It's a good gift.
Wait, sorry, did you read the funny dark one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the weak ankles
Weak
equal
ankles.
cancer probably.
Yeah, sorry.
So
I have weak
it's
ankles.
funny and cute and love this one. Bethany, that's your gift from me.
Thanks. I'm still trying to find the search and find thing.
Oh wait,
so
I
you
have
can go
another one.
next.
Really
Oh.
quick.
Okay.
This is a little book of sloth philosophy, and you can get this now. It's so cute. And it's just like living your life like a sloth. And, you know, sometimes sloth will just chill and take it as it comes. And all of this is about, like, standing upright is for chumps. Embrace the upside down.
You know where you can find that book and more books like it?
Oh!
HC.com/bookfinder. Wait, is this right side up?
Yes.
I
Okay.
feel like you should be on the street, like, twisting it.
Yeah, one of those people.
Anyway, those are my two.
That's my plug. They're called I Spy books, by the way.
I Spy.
Yep.
Googled it, found it. What are you doing
I
now?
want to play. Well, you go first. I was looking for
Okay,
a theme
well,
song I want to play.
I had, oh shoot. I had one that was a shout out to Michael out of here, but I lost it. But this is Guru by RuPaul. Need I say more? This has like oodles of Ruisms, lots of photos you've never seen. It's got little stories by Ru. There's an audiobook of this book, and Ru reads it. And then there's a foreword by Jane Fonda, and on the audiobook, it's Michelle Visage that reads it.
I love Michelle.
So you get Michelle Visage saying Jane Fonda's words, which is like enough to make me pass out. And so I'll show you a couple that are in here. This one goes out to my sister, who somebody said something rude to her the other day. Quick reminder, having a fat ass is a good thing. So there's that Ruism with that photo, and then there's a little story about like Ru and, you know, padding and how why like my waist is ridiculously cinched and the butt is padded beyond recognition, and then there's more sentences after that. And then we have the phrase "please refrain from" should be forever replaced with "bitch please," which is how I live my life. I don't know about you guys.
So, side note, RuPaul has a podcast with Michelle Visage, and I love it. It's called What's the Tea? It's so funny.
Oh, I found it! Here's the one for Michael.
Okay.
How tall, with hair, heels, and attitude, I'm through the motherfucking roof. Yay!
I'm flattered.
But, so RuPaul was in the office, and when I heard, I was like, yeah, we need to go find him.
Yeah, we definitely did.
And he like walked past me, and I froze up. And I just didn't know what to say because I was such shock. Like,
I was
so
hiding
nice.
behind somebody, and then I peeked out and I just did this. That was it.
There was a
Where's
whole
the
line
door?
of
And I was
us.
like, I don't know. I love you though.
Yeah, he came out of the video studio and we were all like lined against the hallway wall, kind of like slinking, like Pink Panther a little bit, and then we just froze when he came out of the door. It was.
And I froze like this.
Yeah, I truly don't find myself saying that, but I could not speak. I was
Yeah.
so excited.
It was brilliant.
That's my present to you.
I love it.
I'm not getting
Alright.
you anything.
No,
I don't
Well,
really
you
feel
know
bad.
what?
See, I just
I'm
did
gonna
something
give
mean, and you
something.
can't do it.
I know I can't. Dang it, it's my greatest weakness. I really want to play the theme song, but I don't even know if this will be it. It might be something completely random. You know, I'm gonna give it a shot anyways.
That'd be fun.
You miss 100%
No,
of the
it's
shots
definitely-
you don't take.
It's definitely a theme song. Girl power.
Is this inciting some memories with any of you watching? I hope it does, because we have the official How to Slay the Buffy Way, badass Buffy attitude and killer advice. Some of my earliest TV memories are watching this show, getting psyched about the theme song. You know, I didn't, obviously when you're a kid, you don't really realize the social aspect of things you're watching, but like this, you know, as far as having like a badass female lead heroine, I think this is one of the best examples of this show ever. It's brilliant. There's so many seasons to sink your teeth into.
Oh.
I
Do
literally,
you
I
have
don't
that
even
written
think
down in
about
front of
puns.
you?
Like I had a pun earlier that, and I try to
didn't
take
realize
credit.
it was
It's
a
just
pun.
my mind.
Once
Yes.
more with feeling.
With
That's a
feeling.
good episode too.
Oh my gosh. And it'll
It's
cry.
really nice, like you were saying, like it is a kind of badass female, but she like wanted to go to prom and she had like all these issues. It was a good, like, you can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Absolutely. So, and there's actually, I guess, there's a rumored reboot, which I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think you can do better than the show as it is now. But hey, Sabrina's pretty awesome, and I didn't know if they would be able to do that. So
Are you a Spike or a Angel fan?
I like Spike.
I kinda do too.
Yeah, I like
There's
Spike.
this one
for
moment
sure.
when her mom meets him and he had like tried to attack her and she's like, "You look familiar," and he was like, "Oh," you know. And it makes me laugh every time.
We'll be taking votes for you at home. If you have a feeling Spike versus Angel, leave it in the
Please
comments.
tell us in the comments.
You need to know.
But this is a really cool, like, perfect gifty book with a lot of just perfect quotes pulled from the TV show as well as iconic scenes. Holy smokes, there's Seth Green right there. He's
Seth
such a
Green.
baby. He's a baby here, but
I thought you were gonna say babe.
he's a babe too. Ginger
Seth
Love.
Green's such a babe.
But you know, like, and they're life affirming. They're awesome. This is Buffy, and oh my gosh, I can't remember.
Allison.
Show it that way.
Yeah,
But her Willow.
Willow. Thank you.
Oh, it's Ernie.
So, and what are we if not women up to a challenge? And then the response is exactly. I mean, did we not put the grr and girl? I think this is a perfect book. I love this show. Any Buffy fan out there, this is the gift for them. It's a can't miss gift. I love it. It's out now, and it's a nice, affordable $19.99. So
Hot
go
diggity
ahead.
dog.
Yeah, right. So run out, get this book.
sink your teeth into.
And it's written by Buffy the Vampire Slayer herself. So
I still can't get over your pun. It was pretty great.
I was convinced you had written that down before so that you would be sure
I
to
was
say
gonna
it.
say I was convinced you wrote that.
No.
I
Nope.
wish. So
What's next? Michael, you got any words for us? Anything that we need to stop?
Nothing.
Collaborate
Just,
and listen
general,
on?
General love.
general love. I think that.
Wishing for all of the books and time to read them.
I have one more gifty one if we want to do it really quickly.
Yeah.
So this is, let me take out my page. This is Dressing Barbie. It's fun.
Nice.
Look how huge it is.
Awesome.
But, so I am a big Barbie fan. I grew up, like, loving them. I had all of them. And, you know, if I ever babysat when I got older, I was always like, you want to play Barbie? Like, I love it.
Did you ever do a Barbie photo shoot where you would do photo shoots with the Barbie, except you wouldn't
did
actually take
not.
pictures because only film existed back
I
then?
was going to say, I didn't really have that readily available, so probably not.
But you would just like dress them up and then pretend to take a picture and then.
I was more into making the house, so like going around my house and finding little miniatures and making it different
sure.
things. And they had a mansion, let me tell you.
A manse. The manse.
So I love Barbie, and when I saw this, I was super excited. So it's about her designer in the 60s, Carol Spencer. Let me get to my
See on the
notes.
back.
Yeah, I actually have a picture of Carol who is wearing some of her designs that she made for Barbie, but she's also wearing them herself. And you can go to Edelweiss. This is all on there. But it's just like fun, and she really kind of revolutionized Barbie in a way. I mean, it was new when she started at Mattel. She saw the opportunities for Barbie to be a role model for women. Also, side note, did you know Barbie's full name that I found out about a year ago, and I'm so excited? Barbara Millicent, and then, yeah, so it's Barbie, and Millicent is her middle name. So that gives you some trivia for trivia night. And so through this, it's behind the scenes. It's got a lot of photos of her work, and it's got 100 full color photos. But it's also on Barbie's 60th anniversary. So you can kind of feel nostalgic and look at all of the photos. And I mean, it really did mean a lot to a lot of different people. Barbie kind of allowed you to like live out what you wanted your life to be. And now Barbie's a doctor and all of these things. And you could kind of be whatever you wanted to be. And I love this credo that Carol said. Barbie always represented the fact that a girl has choices. And she just did such a good job. Like, this is her inspiration. She said, I wear some clothes and think maybe Barbie will wear them. So they could match. I remember matching my Barbie. It was fun. Anyway, I'm really excited about this one. It comes out in March.
I like the trim size of it.
It's like
that's
a nice
really neat.
coffee table book. Yeah.
Harper Design does such amazing, really cool stuff. So,
So
Good
that's Dressing Barbie.
dressing Barbie. Okay.
Reading the flap copy, don't mind me.
Should we discuss some up and comers?
Up and comers.
Up
Love
and
it.
comers.
Like what?
Like what? Do we want to talk about the wife, Alifair Berg,
Yeah.
mayhaps?
So, well, we have The Better Sister, which is coming. This is her already published one, The Wife.
yes.
So you can get this right now. Let me get my notes. This is The Better Sister, which is coming out soon. If you
I
can
think I
hold it.
stole your notes, maybe.
Oh, that's some of my notes, but I reprinted them because someone stole them, so I have more. But thank you. So, The Better Sister by Alifair Burke. Alifair she is a former prosecutor, but she also teaches law in Manhattan. And she's an Edgar Award nominated best novel for The X, which we don't have, but this is The Wife. And she's also she co-authors books with Mary Higgins Clark. I think she has 18 of those.
Wow.
And,
Holy smokes.
yeah. So she knows her thrillers and her crime. But The Better Sister is a domestic noir, and it's her newest one. It is out April 16th. Okay, let's see. How do I want to explain this? I'm excited
Lady
to
is
explain it.
settling in.
So, this book follows Chloe, and she has, it kind of goes back and forth, but in the main time frame, she has married this man who is her sister's ex-husband. Might be a little interesting.
We've
but
been there. We've all been there.
We've all been there. It's a thing. And so she has this stepson / nephew that lives with her, and she pretty much helped raise him. And so she kind of, to the outside world, she has this perfect life. She is kind of up and coming at this magazine. She's an editor. She's doing all these things. And she has this, like, she wins awards and she goes to all these things. She has this husband who is a lawyer, and it all looks great to the outside world. But she knows that when she goes on Twitter, she has this comment section that's, like, deep and dark where people are saying terrible things about her. And, you know, it could be anything. Like, what did she say about this? And they twist her words and make her sound terrible. But that's kind of the background. To the outside world, she looks great. She's really, like, always passionate about her work. She works hard. And then all of a sudden she comes home and her husband has been killed in their house, their summer home, kind of. And she doesn't know. He's been stabbed. She doesn't know what happened. He was supposed to be home that day and the alarm's not on, so she doesn't know if he knew the person. And anyway, so the police come in and they're looking at everything and they start to kind of pick things out of her past, and they kind of look into her son and also her sister, who they're estranged. Her sister's had a past. She wasn't always the best mom, and so she doesn't really see the son. And anyway, the sister comes back into her life, and it really talks about, like, who is your family? Like, you can't get away from them. Also, it really focuses a lot on, like, the past and seeing things a certain way, but if you're not asking for explanations, you don't always see the truth. You just see what you kind of want to see. I think what's really cool about this book is I was reading, like, the tweets, and it's so real. So, like, the way she said it was a little too real and truthful. Like, these people just twist everything, and she's just living her life and making mistakes like any normal person. And then things come out of the past, and she's kind of repeating some of her family's past, and they're not saying anything bad about those people. They're only saying bad things about the person it's happening to. And so I think it really talks a lot about, like, women and up and coming women and career field and family and mixing that world and kind of not being perfect for everybody. It's really cool. I love this cover as well.
And I have to say, so one of our library BFFs, Beatrice Williams, she has a bunch of books, and people do the hashtag Beatrice binge because they start one and they want to read all of them, justifiably so. I think there's totally going to be a Burke binge because this was my first one that I read, the Burke binge. Alifair, if you're watching, please feel free to use that, unless you hate it, and then we can forget about it ever. But yeah, you'll start this. It's a page turner. It's a quick read, but the voices are great. Yeah, I loved it. So yeah, I'm super excited to dip into her others.
Also the trial, because you go through the trial, and it's so intense and specific. Like, I learned so much because she is a former prosecutor. She knows these things. She teaches law. So you really get, like, a behind the scenes of what people are thinking and lawyer talk. It's really interesting. But and it does touch on some domestic violence, and there's some darker themes in there as well. But she's said that she likes using her background to spark nuanced conversations about societal issues and really bringing that in. Also, The Wife is going to be a feature film, and she's writing the screenplay, so that's exciting. You're going to hear a lot from Alifair Burke.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Star is rising.
You did a great job selling that to me, by the way. That has been sitting on my TBR
pitch.
pile for a while, and it's going to rise to the top.
Top.
I mean,
Let's see. Another author whose star continues to rise and who has another novel you can dip into while you wait for this one is
She's
Kate
got
Quinn's
gobs of them, in fact.
Gobs. Kate Quinn.
Yeah.
The Hunt. Yeah, she has other ones. I don't think we published them, but that's okay. You can still read them. We approve. So you'll know Kate Quinn for the Alice Network, which is a New York Times bestseller. It sells like crazy still. Continues to sell.
Reese Witherspoon book club pick.
Thank you, Reese. Yes.
And book club pick from lots of other places.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a series, right? The Alice Network is... I think it's like a short series. So that's coming. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Yeah, that'll be so great.
Her characters have moxie to spare.
Yeah.
Which is why I appreciate them. And so does the author, actually.
She does. But she's really not. I've only met her once. We will be seeing her at ALA Midwinter for any librarians coming to Seattle.
We will.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Becky's coming with us. So
you can also see me.
Yes.
At ALA Midwinter.
We'll be wearing these.
Yes.
Will we?
I don't know what we'll be
I'll
wearing.
Bring them. That's fine.
We'll be wearing something.
Okay, I guess I'll be wearing these.
Yeah, you will. Alone, all of them on your head.
You. But yeah, she's going to be at ALA Midwinter. You'll get to meet her because now she has a new novel coming in February, The Huntress. which is another World War II novel told from different viewpoints. In this case, one is Nina. She's a female bomber pilot for the Russians. They're called the Night Sisters. Witches, excuse me. Which I think is super badass, and also based on true life, and that they are, this was a real thing in Russian society. What's up?
I have something to add on to this.
I was like, did you freeze up?
Okay, so let me, I'll finish this thought.
No,
and
it's
then
based in real life.
Yeah.
And we also have a book, which you guys don't know about because you don't work on teen books, but we have this nonfiction by Elizabeth Wien, who is creme de la creme of all things World War II fiction. And she's written a book about the Night Witches.
Nice.
And it actually, there's one that's, what's her name? Marina Reskova is the one that the main character in this book idolizes. And this book opens with the story of the actual Marina Reskova.
That's super.
Whose name was?
There's a really great.
This comes out in January.
Behind the book on Edelweiss, Kate Quinn wrote, and it kind of brings in like the research behind that.
Yeah.
So you should check that.
That's super cool. I did not know about that. But this follows Nina, and she's obsessed with tracking down the Huntress, who is this horribly evil Nazi war criminal who's gone around, super creepy, and
she's
just
so
horrible.
Scary.
Oh my god!
I had nightmares about that woman for a long time.
Kate can just write characters with like an utter brilliance. I mean, that's the reason she sells like she does. I think is the characters, but like the plot setup is fantastic. It's fantastic. So basically, Nina's obsessed with finding, what happened to the Huntress. No one can find her, and she teams up with this war correspondent who's kind of like haunted by everything he's seen, and they're trying to track her down. And then you flash forward a little bit to like post World War II Boston, and you have this young woman she's a budding photographer herself, and her father has brought home a new fiancé who is German, has a strange, or at least she has a strange accent. She doesn't know where she's from exactly, and this new woman in her life is very hesitant to talk about her past or anything really about herself. So, what's going on? So these three viewpoints converge, bounce back and forth. It's just brilliant. It's really, if you're ever worried about, a follow-up, like if I never doubted Kate, of course, but like if those are big shoes to fill with the Alice Network being such a huge book, and this, like, she knocked it out of the park.
Totally, yeah. And how long, the book is, how many pages? I'm trying to see.
It's like quite a bit.
Because, like, it is so pacey that you just...
Yeah, I almost miss my train stuff.
Forgive the pun, but you fly through it!
There we go.
But, come on.
You'll be hunting for your way back home.
Well done!
No,
that was good.
You'll like it. I don't have one.
That's true. You will like it.
Sorry.
And just, like, this part is so good because, like, you're following three different things, technically. And so, like, you're in Russia with the Night Witches, and you're just like, oh my god, I love this so much. But and then you're taken out of that, and you're put into like 1950s Boston, and then you're like, oh, but I want to be back in Russia. But then you start reading in the Boston chapter, and then you're like, I love this so much, I don't want to leave. And then you go back, and you're just like bouncing between these three things, and you think that you want to go back to the thing you already liked, and then you get something that you like even more.
What's also really cool is there's not one, but like 3 love stories going on, and you're like, it's hard enough to do like one in a thriller historical novel, but you have 3 and you care about all of them. It's just like, what's gonna happen? Are you okay? What's going on? And it is really thrilling.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring this one though because Elizabeth Wien, she wrote Codename Verity, which is, if you guys haven't read that, holy balls, it is good. It is it was one of those books that I got it out of the library and I was reading it, and once I got halfway through, I threw it because I was like, this book just did something to me that I did not see coming, and I freaked out. So anyway, Elizabeth Wien just knocks it out of the park every time. And so like this book here is technically, it's a YA book, but I've been reading it. You can see my bookmark in it still. It reads so well, like adults should totally, you should really just read both of them at the same time. Because the second you finish The Huntress, you want to know more about these Night Witches they had perfected this thing where they would like the planes back then were really loud, and they would fly in, and then they would shut their plane off, and then they would glide down, and so they would come out of the sky out of nowhere like witches on brooms, which is why they're called night witches, and then they would just like bomb the shit out of the Nazis, and then turn, and then so like they'd be swooping down in a plane that's not turned on, and then they would bomb, and then they would turn their plane on and fly away.
That's insane.
But they would do this like 3 times a night, which was unheard of, and so like it was just relentless. And these women were so bold and so brave, and they did things like they made each other go to the store and get peroxide so that they could bleach their hair, just because they were ladies and they wanted to have bright blonde hair.
Well, it's in the Huntress, like, she really alludes to that, like, it's heroic, like, what they did. Women weren't even allowed to do all this, and they had to fight their way to be these night witches, and then they essentially, like, tripled everything the men were doing. They were doing all these crazy things, and then they weren't getting, like, any of the credit. And they were like, but we're doing 3 times the work. It's...
Doesn't that sound familiar, Lainey? Just kidding. It's not your fault.
It's true.
So I highly recommend both of these so much.
Okay,
I'm all
all right.
jazzed up now. It's
I
like
know,
when kids
I'm
want to go
psyched.
outside and they're like waiting to go outside and they start shaking with excitement.
You just
That's
want to
what's
go
happening.
outside and
It's
start
like,
throwing books at people and be like, read this, read this, read this.
You will.
Oh, yeah, and then so I brought this Michael Grant book because I read this Michael Grant series, which is also a teen series set in World War II, which is amazing. And then in the back of his book, he was like, oh, if you like this, you would really like Codename Verity because I love that book. And that's when I was like, oh, I'll read that.
Nice.
Turns out one of the best books I've ever read.
Wow.
So this is just like a World War II extravaganza. Go nuts.
Which
Go
actually,
nuts,
2
babies.
people have already said they love Codename Verity.
Nice.
So,
See? I don't
Jane
lie.
knows what
and
she's talking
Casey
about.
both saying that she's a brilliant writer who does not shy away from adult themes.
Correct. That is true.
So
which is why this book
too.
totally works. Yeah, that book
This
is a
is?
teen
Okay.
book too. Which is why this totally works for adults because
Good crossover.
she's a writer that doesn't treat teens like they have to read less than adults or like can't read up to the level of adults. She treats them like they're actual humans. Which they are. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Go get these.
Yeah.
Also, obligatory 15-minute warning
Thank
coming
you.
in at you.
You know, we could talk for a lot longer than that, so thank you.
Okay.
What else you got?
Right.
What do we want to talk about? What do we have left? Who do we want to
I have a book because I've been watching The Good Place.
I love The Good Place.
And I just finished, I'm like caught up as of last night.
Jeremy Bearimy. It's my favorite
Oh,
one
the
of
Jeremy
season.
Bearimy was so, and when Chidi lost it because of the thing,
She's like,
the
"That's my
dot,
birthday."
the dot right there, I was
Go watch The
in
Good Place
hysterics.
immediately.
So, okay, so I have this one, How the Bible Actually Works, and it comes out in February, and I think that this is so timely and perfect. This is for, like, everybody who has somebody on their Facebook timeline who keeps sharing John Pavlovitz quotes and articles and memes. He's amazing, by the way. I'm not bagging on him. He's really cool. And so this book is like, if you're watching The Good Place and you're like, I'm learning so much about philosophy and I'm laughing, this is unbelievable. This is sort of the book that you need to read if you want to do the same thing, but with the Bible and not philosophy. And it sort of treats like, okay, well, the Bible isn't like a literal thing that we need to follow word for word. It's just a thing that sort of like guides us. It nudges us towards a thing. It's an instructional manual. But just so you can like get an idea of the kind of read you're going to have, the first section's chapter headers look like this. First one is, oh good, another book on the Bible. The second one is, 3 surprising things that make the Bible worth reading. And then if you skip to other chapter headers, like, there was a really good one. Oh, where was it? Standing on a table covered in syrup with my hair on fire.
We've all been there.
Don't put God in a box unless you want to be swallowed by a fish. Does God influence elections? Dear Lord, I hope not. So you're gonna get, and then my favorite is this, the 12th section, which is Dying and Rising for Others. The headers are, what is God up to? And, no, seriously, what is God up to?
It's like a manageable size, and it has little drawings.
It's manageable. It's totally accessible. It's funny. It's for people who are probably raised in the church and then have kind of dropped out of it. It's for people that are like, oh, why will Republicans not stop throwing Bible verses at me? And then, it's for everybody that shades Marco Rubio. Crooked media, hey.
I love another
anyway.
podcast. We'll talk about that later.
I highly recommend this one. Go out and get it. If you watch The Good Place, you're gonna love this.
Have you met him? He's just,
The Good
I mean,
Place? God?
no-
Have I met God? Have I met Marco
Have you
Rubio?
met God recently?
I'm here. Do you have a few minutes?
Knock, knock, knock.
I was going to start singing selections from Book of Mormon, but I won't. The musical. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Have you met Peter?
No, I haven't.
He's great.
Oh.
Yeah, he's. I mean, he's like you would imagine maybe from reading this. He's like super funny, but
What
wicked
is his
smart.
background? He's professor of...
He PhD at Harvard. Something.
He has a
He's
podcast.
got a podcast.
The
Lainey
Sin of
loves him.
Certainty.
Lainey must love him.
The Bible tells me so. Inspiration and incarnation. Oh, that's a podcast too.
Anyway, that's it.
That's great.
That's what I got. How the Bible actually works.
Nice.
I also love that it uses the word actually, like
Actually.
like men on the internet do.
What you need to understand, Bethany. I'm just joking. I hate doing that. I'm sorry.
See, you couldn't even be mean there.
I know.
You
I know.
can't do it.
All right.
It's my Catholic guilt.
What do you have?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
you know what you need.
There we go.
What do you
And a dose
have?
of the good place.
Um,
Continue.
All right, I'm going to talk about a great thriller author who has a lot of greats, who has a
Great.
backlist.
Rich.
Peter Swanson. So this is the last one that went on sale, All the Beautiful Lies, which is about this. So Peter Swanson's based in kind of outside Boston. All his novels usually take place in that area.
Very Dennis Lehane of him.
Yeah, it is, but very different authors.
Yes,
Um,
I agree.
yes, well, that's
Joe Hill says this book is like a stiletto in the ribs.
Ooh, that's a good
Master
quote.
Writer,
That
Mr.
man must be a
Blurber.
writer because that's
Yeah, wow.
well written.
I don't know. It's like in his blood or something. So Peter Swanson, he does great thrillers, very twisty. This one is about a young man who returns home to Boston, and his father has a new wife. This sounds kind of like something I talked about earlier, but it's very different. And basically it's tracing this woman and her past and what she's hiding, because there's some really messed up things that seem to take place wherever this woman goes, and this son is trying to figure out what exactly is happening. There's a lot more there. I just don't want to ruin anything. Needless to say, he's just a great author. If you've, I'm trying to think of his backlist. So there's The Girl with the Clock for a Heart, which people love.
That's the one that I was going to say I loved.
There's also Her Every Fear. There's something that came before that, though, that's really good, too. It's escaping me. But he has a new one coming out in, I think it's March. And I'm sorry, I don't have the jacket here. But for any of you collection development librarians or just people who are looking ahead, it's called Before She Knew Him. And I love talking about this book because it's really fun how he twists some thriller tropes around. And it's about basically this woman and her husband. They're living in this Boston suburb. She's dealing with some psychological issues, but she seems to have them kind of under control. She's an artist, but this new couple moves in across the street, and this woman, is obsessed with like true crime. She's absolutely obsessed. She probably listens to some true crime podcasts.
Probably a murderino.
She's totally a murderino, and she's obsessed with very specific cases, particularly around her area. But she goes and visits this new couple. They seem relatively average, normal. But she goes to the guy's kind of study, and she sees this trophy sitting there. This weird, I think it's, I forget what sport it is, but there's this trophy sitting there, and it seems kind of out of place, and it sparks something in her memory. And then she realizes that there's this case that took place years ago about a young man who was murdered, and there were certain things missing, including a trophy.
So it's a trophy and a trophy.
It's a case and a case in its case.
Wow, we are on right now. Yes, exactly. But the thing is, I'm not ruining anything, I'm not spoiling anything by saying what she comes to find is this man is in fact a serial killer, and she knows that she knows he's a serial killer, and she knows that he knows that she knows, and and so on and so forth. Siri just asked. Siri thought I was talking to her and was looking up things about serial killers.
You're gonna go on a list.
Scary.
That was creepy.
So it's basically this cat and mouse thing where it's like, what's she going to do? She thinks he's involved with all these murders, some of which are very close to her, and he's kind of, he's considering how he's going to deal with her. and they're right by they're neighbors. So it's
much less that she knows he's a serial killer. What's really truly scary is that he knows she knows.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't sleep.
It's so good, and it's unlike any other thriller that I've read. Really, I think it's even a step up for Peter Swanson. He doesn't really need to take a step up. He's amazing, but it is. So again, I wish I had the jacket. We'll post all the links after this.
I'll send you some links.
But there's plenty of Peter Swanson out there on library and bookstore shelves as we speak. So you can run out, get acquainted with him, and be extra eager before she knew him. So.
Okay, I have to talk about this one because I'm bursting.
I feel like there's there's
I
a
was gonna
soda
say
pop
it.
reference
Okay.
to make, and I
Stay
can't
golden.
get it.
Okay, so I have to talk about Snow and Wright's American Pop. I
Whoop, whoop.
have talked about this book a lot because I'm excited about this book a lot.
Because this book is
And
everything.
yes. So Snowden Wright is from Mississippi. You know, I'm from Mississippi, so already major points. But I read this book. It's an epic story of a family through over like years, decades, this family who builds a soda pop empire in Mississippi, and it's all fiction, but it's based in a little bitty town that I know very well. And so you kind of get all of this beauty that surrounds the town. It's like a lot of nature, and you follow these generations. And in the front of the book, it has a family tree, so you can kind of keep up with all that
I love
stuff.
books that do that.
Right. Sometimes you're reading and you're like, oh, who's this? And what time did they live? And all this. So you can get the family tree. But the father has built this empire, and it's a mixture of true and not true. Like, it's not, it pulls a lot on like Coke and Pepsi, but it is this fictional soda industry, and like all of these quotes in pop culture that are actually about the soda industry, it pulls it and puts Pan Cola, which I made this for an interview with Snowden, and I've had it on my desk, and I just want to show it because I'm so proud of this. I made it myself. What?
I said I bet that soda's flat by now.
It might be, but look at this label.
It's
That's some
perfection.
perfection, right? So, and that's a great podcast interview as well. It's on our page. Snowden did a really good job talking about the book, and we had a fun conversation. And so it follows them through their rise and fall using kind of real quotes, but inputting some fiction in as well. And it really is a nod to the South, and it's kind of bigger picture within America, but it is about America too. It goes from Paris to New York to Mississippi, and you kind of see this rise and fall of the American dream, and this family going through a really great heightened success and then kind of falling down with his kids. There's a really great new quote that came in from Adriana Trigiani, who's one of our favorites.
She's the coolest.
And it kind of explains it, so I'm just going to read the quote. The fortune of the Forster family was built on fizz, but sustained by grit, luck, and cunning. The spectacular novel blends history and lore as it follows the story of Houghton and Annabelle, who fall in love and, as they build their life together, build an empire. This is an American saga of one man's ambition, the woman who stoked it, and the family whose complex identity it became. Snowden Wright takes us into the heart of the Deep South with insight, sophistication, and humor. What a ride. And so it just does such a good job of explaining it. And really, it is chewy. It's good for book clubs. It's good for discussion because you follow these characters through each time period, and each of them kind of have a bigger story within each, decade or whatever, and different place that they're living. And you really see the issues coming out during that time for each person. So, like, one of them was in World War II, and one of them is...
I was just thinking about that scene.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then, like, one of the twins, one of the daughters, has a relationship with someone who is real. And in pop culture, you'll know her. I'm not going to say. You'll find out. But she's in Paris and kind of living the expat life, seeing all of that stuff. Anyway, it's truly amazing.
I would say the structure of the novel is so neat because
Yeah.
I said that it was sort of like when you make the maypole and you've got all those ribbons out from like the one pole that's in the middle, and you're picking them up, the pieces up, and like braiding as you go around the pole. Because like you'll have a string from one character, and then the string will just kind of be dropped, but then a little bit later that string is picked up again, and it's just like this like dance of these different strings being wrapped around each other as the story is being woven. And then you get to the end and you're just like, oh my gosh.
And you get to know a little secret at the end, so that's fun. because the whole thing surrounds like the family secret of what goes into this soda, and so that's really fun too. But two things: one, it's really cool. There's in Mississippi, there's a lot of Native American history, and so he does a really good job interweaving that the racial structures into this as well. Two, it really is a nod to like all the great Southern writers. I say it's like Faulknerian because there's a lot of nature and a lot of like crumbling families within this greater structure who are like, we're so much better, but really
But don't
you're
be
crumbling.
scared because I've never read Faulkner and I love this book.
That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to read it, but that's how I describe it. Like it's a great epic Southern novel is what I say, but it does go within the bigger world. It's not just the South. But he also really nodded to different storytelling techniques in those great books. Like his chapter titles kind of give a little outline for the chapter, and that's how they used to do it. So like the first one says, the famous Pensacola dynasty dash piece of time, piece of ass dash Will H. Hayes rolls over in his grave dash cold duck dash the prey of cold hunter dash all happy families. So as you're reading, you can go back and say, oh, it was like highlighted, but like quick, witty, fun things. It's one of my favorite books of the year. I'm so excited about it, and this cover is gorgeous. If you have the galley, you might see a quote from me in it, so you should look in that. But
Let's see what you
US
said.
so it's truly great. Also, I'm probably too proud of this because I made it.
So cool.
You should be proud of that.
Oh, and I have one exciting piece of news that came in yesterday, and I wrote it down. So it was picked as Barnes & Noble's Discover Great New Writers for Spring 19 selection.
Yes.
That's exciting.
So well deserving.
Congrats, Snowden. This is his debut. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's not his debut. It's his second one, but you can read. He won the Grey Wolf Prize as well for his first book, which is Play Pretty Blues. So
Great.
you have to read it. It's so exciting. It comes out in February.
So cool.
Hot diggity dog.
Hot diggity dog.
Do we have time for one more? How are we doing, Michael?
It is 11:30
We have to close.
We're
on the
done.
We gotta
dot.
close. Let's at least give him the gift of JT's face. I'd hate not to at least show his face.
I don't know. The last time I did a Facebook Live with her and she reviewed this book, she was stroking his face.
Because it's such a pretty
I
book.
wish it was like textured and you could
Also,
like feel his beard.
Look at this.
No.
Look at this.
All right.
Oh,
That's
man!
why I'm not on the design. Oh, that's why I'm not on
Full
the design
face.
team. Okay, well, I guess that's it for us. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you commented again, you might just win some books. Everyone have a great holiday. And if you have any questions, always email us. Visit our website.
Don't email me, just email them.
Yeah, we'll CC you.
LibraryLoveFest@HarperCollins.com. We'll get back to you.
And find all your gifts at hc.com/bookfinder.
Yes.
Yay!
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.